Gone are the days when you hear hypertension affects people of 40 years of age and above, but now you see people of 20 years of age and above having hypertension. That's why awareness about this disease is very important. You need to know more about this disease to prevent its complications like stroke, like heart failure, like kidney failure, and even untimely death. According to WHO, approximately 1.2 billion people are living with hypertension globally. You can see you are not the only one, so be calming down. And this disease is preventable and manageable. But out of this 1.2 billion people, almost half of this population, about 580 million people, are not aware they have this disease. Wow. Then 720 million people are not taking the treatment they needed. That is why you need to know more about this disease. Having hypertension is not a problem, but the problem is you not knowing you have this hypertension until complications are set in, or some people know they have hypertension, but they are not taking treatment because it is not affecting them, because it is not incapacitating them. That is where the problem lies. If you have hypertension and you are not controlling it, you are not managing it, you are making a huge mistake, because by the time you want to start treatment, complication would have set in, and by then you will now be managing the disease and the complication. That is why in today's video I'm going to be telling you more about hypertension. I will tell you what the blood pressure is, what hypertension is, the stages of hypertension, to be able to know what stage you are, what group you are, and what you should do at that stage. Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, Ask Your Nurse. If you're seeing my video for the first time, I'm Ashamu Uluwashion. I'm a registered nurse, registered midwife with a Bachelor of Nursing Science. This channel focuses on content related to health, and thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell below to be the first person to know anytime I upload another new video. And to my returning subscribers, thank you guys for all you do. Now, what is blood pressure? Blood pressure is the force or the pressure that the blood exerts on the artery or the blood vessel that carries it. For blood to be able to move through a blood vessel or through an artery, it needs certain pressure that will push it forward, and that pressure or force is what is called the blood pressure. But that pressure is supposed to be at certain level, and according to WHO, the blood pressure is supposed to be below 120/80, but it should not be lower than 90/60. If it is lower than 90/60, that is hypotension. That means the pressure is low. And if it is more than 120/80, that means the pressure is high. So that is blood pressure. And blood pressure is measured by an apparatus called sphygmomanometer, or a blood pressure monitor. And when your blood pressure is monitored or is being measured, it shows two values, the upper value and the lower value. The upper one is systolic and the lower one is diastolic. The systolic pressure is the force that the blood exerts on the blood vessel when your heart contracts to push the blood to the general circulation, to all over your body. That is called the systolic pressure. While the diastolic pressure is the force that the blood exerts on the artery when the heart relaxes to fill itself up again with blood. That is what is called the diastolic pressure. And those are the two values that shows on your BP monitor, or that is the value they tell you when you go to monitor your blood pressure. Now, the classification of blood pressure. The WHO classified blood pressure into 5 stages. I will tell you those 5 stages and what to do at each stage. The first stage is normal blood pressure. It is when your systolic pressure is less than 120 and your diastolic pressure is less than 80 millimeter of mercury. But mind you, the systolic must not be lower than 90 and your diastolic must not be lower than 60. That means you have normal blood pressure. And when you have a normal blood pressure, that means you are good. So you should maintain a good lifestyle, like eating a healthy diet, doing regular exercise, avoiding stress, continue to do those healthy lifestyle that you are doing. You should maintain it for your blood pressure to remain at normal. Now, the second stage, which is pre-hypertension stage or elevated blood pressure stage. This is when your systolic blood pressure is 120 to 129 and your diastolic blood pressure, that is the lower value, is still below 80. Your diastolic still remains below 80, but your systolic, that the upper value is between 120 to 129 millimeter of mercury. That means you have pre-hypertension or an elevated BP. You are not yet hypertensive. So what can you do at this stage? What you should do is to modify your lifestyle. That is, if you are taking high salt before, you reduce your salt intake, your sodium intake, because sodium causes fluid retention, you reduce it. Then you increase the diet that is rich in potassium. You ensure that you do regular exercise, you are physically active, you manage stress. Those are the things you can do at this stage. Then you reduce your carbohydrate intake, you reduce your fatty food intake. So by doing this, your blood pressure can be able to go down to normal blood pressure, and you don't need medication at this stage. Now, the third stage is stage 1 hypertension. This is when your systolic blood pressure is between 130 to 139. The upper value, that is the systolic, is between 130 to 139 millimeter of mercury, and your diastolic, that is the lower value, is between 80 to 89 millimeter of mercury. At this stage, you have stage 1 hypertension according to WHO. And what can you do at this stage? That means at this stage, you really need to modify your lifestyle. As I have said earlier, that you need to reduce your salt intake, you need to reduce your carbohydrate intake, you need to reduce your fatty food intake, you need to increase your diet that is rich in potassium, like all these green vegetables, like spinach, like nuts. You increase the intake, bananas, sweet potato, they are very high in potassium. So you increase those diets, they will help you to manage your blood pressure. Then your physician might put you on medication or might not put you on medication depending on your overall health or an underlying condition. For example, if you are a person that is diabetic, or if you are older than 60 years of age, this level of blood pressure can worsen your condition. So your physician might want to put you on an antihypertensive drug to lower your blood pressure, because if you have diabetes with this level of blood pressure, that is 130 to 139 of systolic and diastolic of 80 to 89 millimeter of mercury, it can worsen that diabetes. It can cause complication at this stage. So your physician might want to put you on drugs that will lower your blood pressure. But if your overall health is good, if you are healthy, you don't have any underlying medical condition, you are not an agent, you don't have coronary heart disease or any other disease, they might just ask you to modify your lifestyles, and by doing this, you might be able to control your blood pressure and it gets to normal. And if you are smoking, you should quit smoking, because smoking can cause hypertension. And if you quit smoking, you might not even need to take any medication and your blood pressure will be normal. Now, let us go to the next stage, which is stage 2 hypertension. At this stage, this is when your systolic blood pressure, that is the upper value, is at 140 or higher. If it is at 140 or higher and your diastolic blood pressure is at 90 or higher than 90, that means you have stage 2 hypertension. And at this stage, you need to really modify your lifestyles. If you are smoking, you quit smoking. If you are taking high salt diet, you reduce your salt intake, you reduce your fatty food intake, you reduce your carbohydrates diet, you do regular physical activities and do regular exercise, you avoid stress and rest very well, then you will need medication at this stage. Your physician will need to give you antihypertensive drug at this stage, and in some cases, in fact, one antihypertensive drug might not be enough. They might need to combine two antihypertensive for them to be able to control your blood pressure to be normal, or they might need to give you just one if it is well controlled with one antihypertensive medication. But at this stage, you really need medication and lifestyle changes. Now, the last stage of blood pressure according to WHO is hypertensive crisis stage. This is the highest stage, and as the name implies, crisis, that means it's an emergency state. They also call it hypertensive emergency state. You really need to go to the emergency room to complain, or you call an emergency number or an ambulance if you have any symptoms that needs immediate treatment. But at this stage, you really need immediate treatment because complication can occur to the vital organ at this stage. Your vital organs are at risk, so you need to go to the emergency room. They need to give you emergency treatment at this stage. So those are the 5 stages that we have according to WHO. And after this video, I want you to go to the hospital now to check your blood pressure. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell below to be the first person to know anytime I upload another new video. Thank you.